What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and today we're gonna be with some power rankings. Week 13 power rankings. We last did them at the mid-season point. Got some good feedback. Seems like you guys want me to do more football-related videos throughout the week, like just, more so than just hyping up the Philadelphia Eagles, which I can certainly do because it do not require a whole lot of editing. So I figured with the Eagles losing, it's not worth just making a fire tweet about it. Just might as well make a video just to see where I put the Eagles for you guys to either flame me or applaud me. Hopefully you applaud me because I am the football god here on YouTube, self-proclaimed. So yeah, we're gonna be doing our top 10 power rankings. First, we will give you my week 12, last week's power rankings, to give you a reference, a starting point. So at number 1, we have the Eagles, Patriots at 2, Vikings at 3, Steelers at 4, Rams at 5, Saints at 6, Panthers at 7, Chargers at 8, Falcons at 9, and Jaguars at 10. That was from a tweet only, no videos. So because we're doing a video, I'm going to be very similar to the college football playoff. I'm going to give you my first teams out kind of thing, where I have, obviously we do the top 10, so you're going to get teams 12 and 11. So just if you're a fan of some team that might have dropped out, you can kind of get a little bit more clarity to where I have them. So at tied for number 12, we have the Tennessee Titans and the Atlanta Falcons. Both these teams are incredibly inconsistent. You do not know what team you're going to get. The Falcons caught an L this week against the Minnesota Vikings, who, you're gonna see me put some respect on the Vikings name in this video. But the Falcons, it's one of those things that game really killed the momentum, but it was a really tough opponent, so you can't really factor the loss too much against them. And then with the Tennessee Titans, even though I think they are leading the AFC South, I think they're the tiebreaker. You never know what kind of win they are gonna get. They beat up a pretty limpless Texan team. And, obviously it's a decent win. They're 8-4. It's a good record. But the Tennessee Titans are the kind of team that if you told me, oh, man, you guys see last week's game with Tennessee? They edged out the Patriots 17-13. Like, oh, that's a pretty good team. What'd they do this week? Oh, they just lost to the Browns 32-7 or something like that. That's how inconsistent the Titans are this year. So I don't feel any... versus the Jaguars, who they already beat. I think the Jags might be a little bit different result this time around. The Jags, at least you know what you're getting with them. They're very consistent, always play good defense, and now they have Leonard Fournette healthy. So I'm putting Tennessee here tied for the number 12 spot. At number 11, we have the Carolina Panthers, who are falling a couple spots. They were my number 7 team last week, but they ran into an incredibly hot Saints team. Alvin Kamara is a monster. From a neutral watching that game, very exciting watching Kamara versus McCaffrey. I drafted Alvin Kamara in all my fantasy leagues because I knew he was going to be a beast. I love watching him succeed. And yeah, it's just, that's a tough loss for Carolina, especially for their NFC wildcard race and within their own division. So that is why they are just slipping out of the top 10 rankings. So going to team number 10, a +2 from the week before, newly ranked Baltimore Ravens. Now, before we talk about the positive, the negatives, no matter anytime someone talks about the Ravens this year, all I can think of was that horrible game that they had against the Jaguars in London. That was probably the worst game any team has had at any point this season. That was so bad. But when you can, play elite defense like they are, I have the Baltimore Ravens defense in one of my fantasy leagues, and they are absolutely elite. And then you put 44 points on the Detroit Lions, who are very much a team that probably still has a little bit of a shot to make the playoffs through the wild card in the NFC, and they definitely are a very competitive roster. 44 points. Ravens offense is what it is. They're probably not going to be really competitive in the playoffs, but you never know with that defense, man. That defense could carry Mr. Am I Elite or Not Joe Flacco to a playoff win. I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders, but they're good enough to get number 10 on my power rankings. Going to number 9, losing a spot just because of quality of win, is the LA Chargers. Now, I was on the LA Charger train way before anyone else that you may see a rankings list. I put the Chargers at number 10 before that Thanksgiving game, the blowout against the Dallas Cowboys, when everyone else started to jump on that train. I think the Chargers in the AFC West are the best team right now, and they definitely are the hottest team. You don't know what you're getting with the Raiders, incredibly hot and cold, and everyone knows the downfall with the Kansas City Chiefs. Losing to the Jets? Lost to the Jets? What? But the Chargers, man, they have a good recipe for success outside of like a offensive line. You got superstars like Melvin Gordon. You got Keenan Allen, who's probably the hottest wide receiver in football right now. Phillip Rivers is playing some of the best football of his life. And they have a very competitive defense with tremendous edge rusher ability in Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa. So right now, I'm putting the Chargers as my AFC West champions. They're a sneaky team. Someone asked me in the stream, what is your surprise but somewhat potentially likely Super Bowl matchup. I mean, I didn't really have any surprise picks for the NFC, but I said the Chargers. The Chargers are built to surprise teams, I feel, if they can squeak into the playoffs. And obviously, if they win the NFC West, they will get there. All right, moving on to team number 8. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who get a +2 from the week before. They were 10 last week, now sitting at the number 8 spot. They got a decent victory. I mean, 30-10. It's kind of expected against the Colts. We talk about another team that had a pretty much expected divisional win, and they actually lost a spot. But for the Jags, I mean, it is what it is. A really, really good defense. Colts aren't. I think someone actually showed a record where, like, the Colts, if the games ended at halftime, would be like 7-2 or something crazy like that. I saw it on Reddit. But yeah, more so for the Jags. That defense is so good, man. Really, really good defense. I don't know if you can say is there a better defense right now in football? I mean, the Eagles have been playing really, really good. The Vikings have been playing good. The Seahawks have somehow been able to watch them against the Eagles playing really, really good. But I mean, the Jags. Maybe it's more so the Jags are just a defense for the most part. I mean, Leonard Fournette's getting healthy a little bit, but they all know what's going on with Blake Bortles. He's going to give you a turnover or two. He's a capable quarterback, but he's definitely not the guy that they thought they were getting 2 years ago. So, I don't know. Maybe I have a hard-on for the Jags, something like that. But putting them at number 8 with a +2, I feel all right having them at number 8. Tied for the lead in the AFC South. Going to team number 7, we have the Seattle Seahawks, who are getting a very nice +4, which, since I've done my power rankings, if you don't follow me on Twitter, that's the best way to keep up with them, at beastmode_TV. I had a +3, which was the Chargers a couple weeks ago. +4 for the Seahawks. I had them at number 11. But, you do what you did against Philly. As much as, the refs were bad, and forward pad, I don't know. And Philly definitely did beat up themselves more so than I think people are letting on. But at the end of the day, not to be just a salty Eagle fan, Russell Wilson was unreal. Absolutely unreal. Their defense, I can't say that I remember I did my video talking about the Seahawks. People were like, oh, you're not giving credit to the defense. Philly's game plan was all wrong, man. You had to attack the secondary. They had so many drives that were stalling just because they're trying to attack the strength of that Seattle defense, which is the front 7, and not having any luck. But the defense was good. Definitely, with how bad they're limping with no Legion of Boom. They played exceptionally at Bobby Wagner, who's probably, at worst case scenario, in the top 3 consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. But Russell Wilson had his best game all season. Don't even at me with that Texan game against pathetic defense. This was Russell Wilson's best game, and good enough to get them a +4. I mean, Seattle, I guess right now I'm pulling against Seattle just because I don't want Philly to have to play them again, but I also do. I want Seattle to have to come up to Philly, play the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. I do believe that the result would be different, but I digress. Seattle beat my Philadelphia Eagles, and they're getting the biggest raise in any power ranking, sitting at number 7. Going to number 6, we have the Rams, who came off a not as one side of a victory as you would have thought against the Arizona Cardinals, 32-16. So they lost a spot. They were number 5 last week. Now they're going to number 6. This is more so not indicative of the Rams, more so the teams ahead of them either had more clout or they had just better victories. So Rams still a really, really good team. Could very well, there's not a lot of separation between team number 6 and team number 3. So it's just the downside of the power ranking system. The Rams still really, really good. Todd Gurley, still MVP candidate. I would say I'd probably have him as number 5 candidate right now. Really, really good. Goff having one of the most improved seasons. Offensive line looks good. Defense is solid. Very interesting game as they take on the Eagles this week. But, obviously with the Eagles, they get, week 14 power rankings. Rams could rise. Who number 5? We're going with the New Orleans Saints, who get a +1. They were 6 last week. So there you go. There's a great example. The Rams win and the Saints win. What one was more impressive? The Rams beat up on the Cardinals. The Saints beat up on Carolina, who's an actual playoff contender. That's why I put the Saints +1 over the Rams. Kamara is looking absolutely terrified. Give that man Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's a wrap. Defense is solid. Marcel Lattimore back. Looks a lot better. And the Saints, man, the Saints are definitely a team that, I think a lot of people are giving them a lot of credit now, but I still don't think a lot of teams understand just how good the Saints can be, because they're just running over teams. They're not even letting their Hall of Fame quarterback, who can still definitely sling it, win games with his arm. I think it's one of those things, if they can get a good balance and have both those things firing on all cylinders, I don't think the Saints have hit their final form yet, but know, they have slipped up here and there, so number 5, it's a good spot here for the Saints. Goal number 4, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are staying even. They were 4 last week, they're 4 this week, just edging out a victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. Always a tough game. That was such a dirty game, man. Thoughts out to Ryan Shazier. I don't know if there's a spoiler or not, but basically I was working on a collab video that I actually butchered, and we have to retry it with Pam Crow, not the expert. And I remember at the end of the stream, Pam Crow just said, "Hey, look at Twitter, look at Twitter, huh? Great impersonation." And basically Ryan Shazier, we were streaming during that game, or recording during that game, and oh my god, man, that is terrifying. That was like one of the nastiest things I've ever seen. Hopefully everything's good. And outside of that, man, Juju Smith-Schuster had a really ugly block on Vontaze Burfict. There was just bad hits left, right, and center. But again, man, you would have expected the Steelers, even though it was a road game, and they're definitely Jekyll and Hyde, be it when they play at home versus when they're on the road, to handle the Bengals a little bit better than what they did. So I can't put them really ahead of any more spots, but they stay even. Still, you know, very, very terrifying with Le'Veon Bell, the Killer Bees, or whatever they want to call themselves. But number 4 is a good spot for the Steelers right now. Number 3 are my Philadelphia Eagles, taking a -2. Number 1 last week, going all the way down here. They have no one else to blame but themselves. Sure, Russell Wilson had an immaculate performance, but if Philadelphia was able to execute, if Carson Wentz was able to execute, Wentz had 1 touchdown the day, where if this was almost any other week, Wentz would have had 3 to 4. So, I mean, Philly shot themselves in the foot way too much, and Seattle was playing too high of a level of football game for that to really compensate. So, Eagles taking this L and going down to number 3. Still, I think right now, looking at it as an Eagle fan, if they can beat the Rams, that Seahawks game is going to be pretty much far and beyond, because I firmly believe, and so does a lot of people, I've even had Seahawks fans admit to me that if Seattle, has to go on the road, has to run through everywhere that's not Central League in the playoffs, it's a way, way bigger disadvantage than obviously they're home. And I don't feel like Seattle's I don't think there's any way in hell Seattle's going to get home field advantage for the playoffs. That's just, a bad scenario. So I think if the Eagles can get this win against the Rams, the number 6 power ranked Rams, all will be forgotten. I don't know necessarily how much I can put a plus there. Depends on the quality of the Patriots and Vikings victories. But yeah, man, I'm playing it into the Eagles, -2 to my Eagles. I'm pretty sure a bunch of you guys thought, oh, you just got to knock them down 1, and I'm going to piss off all the Patriot fans. Number 2 is the New England Patriots. I mean, you can't. They stay even. There were 2 last week. You can't give them too much points in any divisional game. That's just like the thing. The stick with the Patriots. It's a cakewalk. The Patriots at the beginning of the season, just give them the AFC East title. You can't get any clout for beating up on the Bills. It's the Bills. And they didn't even have Tyrod Taylor for half. They had Peterman playing for half the game. So Patriots stay even at 2. Very, very complete roster. Tom Brady playing like an MVP candidate. There is your positives, but you can't really give them too much clout for that victory over the Bills. And number 1 is going to be Minnesota Vikings, a +2. They were number 3 a week before, but putting a hurting on. I think the game wasn't even as close. Really, I watched that game. I think it was 14-9 over the Falcons. It really didn't feel like at any point in that game Atlanta had like the stronghold. So I mean, Vikings right now, I still don't think they're going to be legitimate Super Bowl contenders, just because I think when push comes to shove, Case Keenum is not the guy. But you gotta give credit where credit is due. That's just projections. Based off of the body of work, Case Keenum is doing a really good serviceable job. It's helped out by tremendous weapons on the offense. The offensive line that I really, really underrated is playing very, very well. And of course, they have, whatever way you try to look at it, a top 5 defense in the NFL. So I have no problem right now, based off of the quality of their last couple of wins, giving the Vikings the number 1 spot over my glorious Eagles that are looking to bounce back, and the New England Patriots. So let me know what you guys think here about my power rankings. Rip me to shreds, agree with me, pat me on the back, or anything in between. Thank you for watching. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.